Morning, Janice.
Morning, Anthony.
Today we're going to go over the first 5 steps to selling a probate business. All right. So unlike real estate, most people or heirs or even executors have never owned a business, let alone had to sell one. So when it does come up in an estate, in a probate, folks are usually lost.
Yes.
And we're going to go over a recent estate example of this, which included a retail business. So I want to be specific that this is a retail business, not a consulting firm or something like that.
Right.
So the first step towards selling a probate business, got to secure the business location. Does it seem intuitive? Do we agree that a vacant storefront is going to attract crime or vandalism or even homelessness? Yeah?
Definitely. Yeah.
So you got to just like if you're going on a long vacation from your home, you got to keep it looking like it's active, right?
Exactly.
So make sure the lights are on, maybe on a timer, maybe have motion sensors at the front and back doors to set off either an alarm system or the lights to scare away a opportunistic person.
Yes. Yep.
Make sure that the alarm and security detail is paid up and up to date and is activated. Yeah.
That's always my favorite when they have cameras and they just don't function.
And then
could have caught it on camera, but
yeah, just like your house, make sure the mail isn't piling up.
Yeah.
That's a sign that nobody's
mail, newspapers, all that stuff out front. Yep.
All right. Next step to selling a probate business, you need to figure out how to get the business financials. The reason you need this is because they're necessary to figure out what the company or what the business is worth, and plus any buyer is going to want to see your financials before they get serious about buying. So how do you do this? Ask the CPA or bookkeeper if there was one. If there wasn't, maybe you can piece it together from old tax returns and try to find those. And also a lot of folks are doing sort of the DIY or do-it-yourself approach these days to their businesses. So check their computers or just figure out if they had, QuickBooks or FreshBooks or one of those things. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So then once you've figured out the financials, you want to get the business appraised. Okay, so you might be wondering, wait a second. You just told me to get the financials. Why do I need to get, pay for an appraisal as well? So not everybody's going to interpret financials the same way. And getting a qualified independent appraiser is sort of a way to put a wrapper on that so that it's like, oh, look, we're all looking at the same thing, right?
Exactly.
Also, business appraisers have access to comparable data that we don't have. There's no Street Easy or Zillow, or at least I don't know that of one. Maybe there is one, let me know. But I'm not aware of any Street Easy or Zillow or what else is there? There's Redfin for businesses. The way you can have, any consumer can just look it up for houses. It's not as easy to figure out comparables for small businesses. Do you know of one, Janice?
I don't, because if you think about it, look at just compared to small businesses, they're nothing alike, right? I mean, every single business is different, whether even if it's just retail, what they sell, what they have on hand.
So I think I kind of touched on this, but one of the reasons why you went in a business appraisal, in addition to having the financials, is because it's a third party. It's an independent opinion.
Yeah.
And this is helpful not only for when you're dealing with your buyer, but also when you're dealing with your heirs. You want to make sure that they don't question, did you sell it too low? This is what we were told it's worth in this ballpark, right?
Right.
All right, so the fourth, just lost my place here. Got it. Okay, so the fourth step, initial step when selling a probate business, is you got to take stock of the business assets.
Right.
You need to figure out what you have and what you need to make sure you keep. And I'm not necessarily talking about inventory, although that's important too. We have a liquor store we're dealing with, and we don't want to see that our inventory drank away by somebody.
Right.
I'm talking more about key assets like key man employees. If there's a manager that runs the business, and you would love to sell the business with that manager in place, you got to keep that person happy, because that's actually part of the value of the business.
Right. If you've had somebody that's been there since you opened it and knows inside out and backwards, that's definitely an asset.
If the business is on a leased premises, if you don't own the real estate as well, then you need to make sure you understand what the lease agreement is, what the terms are, how much time is left, what the relationship with the landlord, because this is all what you're parceling together when selling to
Correct.
to the buyer. So if it's a great location, and you have only a year left on it,
Yeah.
But if it's a great location and you have 8 years left on your lease, that's helpful.
Exactly.
That's a key aspect.
Yeah, I was going to say, if your lease is almost up and they're getting ready to boot you out, yeah.
All right. So the last initial step when selling a probate business is you're probably wondering, how do I choose a business broker? You need a business broker to execute this. Well, first of all, why do you need a business broker? As we mentioned before, it's very hard to figure out comparables. Even if you get that data from the business valuation appraiser, you probably don't have the savvy or the experience to know how to compare this liquor store to that wine store that's in front of that's part of a strip mall versus the liquor store that's part of I don't know.
Standalone.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. No. Yeah.
And like I said, you might try to sell a house on your own, but there really are not as many do-it-yourself or FSBO, for sale by owner.
Yeah.
There's not as many resources or options for businesses, so it'll be really tough to do it on your own without a broker.
Absolutely, and they know what they're doing. It's you find a good broker that this is all that they do,
Yep.
and they're going to know how to sell it at the cost to I think you don't want to do this to yourself. No.
And it's not just about finding the buyer, that's a big part of it, but it's also the grind and the paperwork of consummating the sale, of getting you to the closing or through the closing. There's just a lot of assignment deeds, just a lot of stuff that needs to get done, and just trying to figure it out on your own on the fly, you're going to lose your closing. You're going to lose your buyer.
It's a lot more than just selling a house. Like you said, it's so much more.
All right, so excuse me. So how do you find this business broker? Okay, so first, know that a lot of real estate brokers, a lot of realtors do both. I'm not a big fan of that. I'm not a big fan of jack of all trades, master of none. I'd rather find someone who just does it. But depending on the area you're in, that might be your best bet, right? In larger metropolises or cities, you're probably going to be able to find business brokers who only do businesses and who are very, very good at it. But in maybe not so big cities, your best choice might be somebody who does both, right?
Right. And just like picking an attorney, meet with them and see how it works and make sure it's a good fit, right?
If the business has a CPA, ask them. CPAs are usually great resources for attorneys and brokers and things like that. And lastly, if you're not having any luck with those methods, this will take a little bit of legwork, but try to find if any similar businesses have sold recently and nearby.
Oh, okay.
Find out who they used,
Yeah.
That's not easy, but
that's true. No, but I mean, it's possible, especially if it's a big money one, then it's in the paper, but.
So that's it. Those are our 5 steps. We don't deal with this too often, so you might not be finding a lot of information on this. So I hope you find this helpful.
Yeah, it's definitely out there. We've come across quite a few estates that have had businesses as part of the estate. So my suggestion, How Probate Works by Anthony, available on Amazon, digs into this a little deeper. Not necessarily, I don't think you discuss too much of the business side of it, but setting it up before and having a good plan is the key to this, right? Yeah.
Yeah, in the chapters where I talk about unexpected twists and turns and why probate can take so long, this is one of those situations that could easily add to that. Yeah.
Oh, definitely. This is not a quick process.
All right. Well, thank you, Janice. As always, thanks everyone for listening. Hope this was helpful, and we'll talk soon next time. Bye.
We'll talk soon.